All right, good morning. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome back. Happy New Year. And yeah. Okay, let's begin. We'll take our thumbs into our fingers, let our hands rest on our thighs, and take a few moments to just arrive here together. And so bringing our awareness to the three treasures, the body, the breath, and the mind. Yeah, just tuning in. So if taking in a nice, deep, full breath can help to bring the focus of your mind to your breath and your body and bring more awareness into your body, then great. And we can do that. And then settling into the physical sensations and the sensations of alignment, the sensations of the breath, the movement of the breath, and even as you breathe, maybe noticing how your clothes shift against your skin. And just taking a moment to tune in, to attune, to take stock of how you're feeling. Just cultivating what's called interoception. Just an awareness of what's going on inside of us, our physical sensations, the mental emotional sensations. And as you do that, breathe. And just remembering that these three treasures are Qigong practice. Attuning to these three treasures, aligning them, harmonizing them, remembering them. This can be a great resource. So taking even just a few moments like we're doing now to just feel your body and breathe and notice the movement of the breath, feeling the breath inside of you and around you, noticing the focus of your mind, what your mind is interested in, and maybe directing the focus and the interest of your mind to your breath, to your body. Finding space, maybe a moment of calm, appreciation, even amid conflict and complexity. Just learning and getting good at being able to do this. And then as you're ready, let's bring our hands together and we'll rub our palms together. We'll do a slightly shorter self-massage this morning. Generating some heat in the palms and remembering that heat is energy, and energy is a common translation of Qi. And as you rub your hands together, feel your hands rubbing together. Breathe into that sensation. Notice what that does to the heat in your hands. And when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in and shake it out. And again, rubbing the palms together. And maybe massage one hand with the other as you rub them together. And this is another opportunity to tune into the body, but specifically the hands, the fingers, the wrists, as you touch them and move them and massage them. What do they feel like? Do they feel good? Do they feel sore? Are there spots that feel a little stiff or tight? And are there spots that feel open and relaxed? It's very likely there's a little bit of all of it. And when you're ready, another nice deep breath in and out. Recharge the palms, and then bring the hands to your face. And we can massage up and out. Take your time. Feel what this feels like. Find a way of doing it that feels good. Breathe as you do this. And when you're ready, you can then just bring your fingertips over your scalp, and you can go front to back or back and forth or any other kind of way. The invitation, as always, is to just explore the whole surface area of your scalp. Not just the midline, not just the edges, but the whole thing. And again, notice how it feels. Notice the spots that feel good, the spots that feel a little tender or tight. And as you're ready, you can slowly draw your hands down the back of your neck and around the base of the neck. And then a nice deep breath in and out. Rub the palms together and breathe. And let's do our shoulder massage, beginning with the left arm. We'll swing it up to the right shoulder, let it land and then fall away and alternate side to side. And as your hand is swinging up towards your shoulder, just bringing your intention there. Feel the sensation as the hand lands on your shoulder. Notice that. If you land hard and it feels a little too rough, adjust. If it feels like more might feel better, try that. Find your pace, your way of doing this that works. And if what's working stops working, try something else. One more on each side. Big breath in and out. And then we can bring both hands with soft fists or beak fingers, and let's just tap the upper chest, and maybe working under the collarbone. If it's hard to get far out with the collarbone, you can cross your hands. And then working down the edge of the sternum. Breathing deeply. And you may find some tender, sensitive spots in the chest, around the heart and the lungs. You can work up and down the edge of the sternum if you'd like. You can hang out at any spot that feels like it wants extra attention. You can yell like Tarzan. And as you're ready, you work your way down to the lower ribs, maybe opening up the hands, gently patting the lower ribs, and maybe transitioning onto massaging the lower ribs. And from the ribs onto the belly. And so the ribs and the belly. Maybe one hand up high and the other hand down low. And switching the hands when you want to, if you want to. And then around the waist to the lower back, the lower ribs, the SI joint. And then draw the hands out, shake them out. Rubbing the palms together, breathing deeply. And then let's massage our arms. So tapping the fingertips up the outside and down the inside. Going at your pace, using however much or however little pressure feels good. And one more time, up and down, changing sides, tapping the fingertips up the outside, down the inside. Remember to breathe. Remember to attune to the sensations of your body. Allow what you're doing to be the focus of your mind. And up one more time, and then down. Big breath in and out. Rubbing the palms together, and then you can bring your feet out in front of you if you'd like. And we can massage the bottom of our feet. If you're sitting in a chair or standing, and if the bottom of your feet aren't available to you, you can massage your knees, your thighs, your hips, or keep massaging your hands and arms. And if you're massaging the bottom of your feet, you can follow the funnel down on the bottom of the foot to the deepest hollow. If you're massaging your knees, maybe finding the deepest hollow on the back side of the knee. And from here, we can draw the hands up the inside and around the hips and down the outside. Going with the flow. And up one more time, and then around and down and out. Nice deep breath in, shaking it out, rubbing the palms together, tucking the thumbs back into the fingers, allowing the hands to rest back onto the thighs. And again, return to an awareness of your body and your alignment. Breathing and feeling the breath move through your body. Allowing this awareness of breathing with the whole body to be the focus of the mind. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right. Good. Any questions about anything? Questions, comments, concerns?
What kind of congestion would be up here that's above the lungs?
Well, so we have our sinuses that then go down into the throat, and then we have the bronchi, and then from there it branches out into the lungs itself. And so if you're feeling more congestion in this area, oh yeah, and there's also a lot of muscle in this area, absolutely, yeah. And so tapping in this area, if you're finding tender spots, often it will be muscular, just because, we're often doing this, or, whether we're guarding or whether it's because we're working in front of us, we tend to go this way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then again, we've talked about sometimes before when we massage these points, this is the upper kidney meridian. And the kidney meridian itself begins on the bottom of the foot. That's the point we massage on the bottom of our foot. That's the bubbling spring. And so the kidney meridian itself is really a description of the evolution of consciousness. And so the bubbling spring, we can think of it as like the primordial ooze, where something arises out of nothing and it emerges. And then we have these middle kidney points over the abdomen, which are very much just about being human, about the organs, about having to digest and deal with life. And then the upper kidney meridian points have to do more with that evolution of consciousness, and so, or an elevated consciousness, being open, being a part of this kind of universal awareness, going beyond, similar in the chakra system. You have the lower chakras, which are more individual, and then you have the upper chakras, which are more universal. So similar with these upper kidney points. And so, there's also that congestion or that drawing away from becoming a part of everything. Because then that means that our kind of individual, personological wants and needs and preferences, we kind of have to go beyond those, and sometimes it's I don't like that, so we're opening there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, so I have the 5 elements on the board because I just want to talk a little bit about those because it's a new year, and the lunar new year this year will begin February 17th. And it's kind of a late start to the year because the lunar new year, as most of you know, begins the second new moon after the winter solstice. So that's why it's different every year. And, I think we had a full moon right the day after the equinox. And so, it's going to take a while to get to the second new moon. And so the year that we're moving into, according to the Chinese cosmology, we're moving out of the year of the wood snake and we're moving into the year of the fire horse. And the horse, where the snake is an earth animal, And so we had like a wood, earth balance happening, and snakes, especially a wood snake, which is like a baby snake, going underground, kind of being still and quiet, shedding skin, transforming. Now we're moving into the year of the horse, and horses are, whereas snakes are, let's shed a skin, let's kind of become nothing to see what emerges. Now we have this horse, which is something, very big and active and dynamic and prominent. And the horse itself is a fire animal. It corresponds to the organ of the heart in our body. And so in all cultures, the heart is the fire animal, or the fire organ. And so then we have this fire animal and a fire organ, and it's a fire year. It's a fire horse. It's not a wood horse or an earth horse or a water horse. It's a fire horse. So like fire, 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 fire. So yeah. Exactly, right. Yes, yikes. Like it might be kind of like, wow, okay, there's a lot that might potentially be happening. So that's why I want to talk a little bit about these 5 elements, because, balance can be helpful when one element is like, yikes. So, all right. So we have our cycle of the elements, and also we've talked before, about the elements, and we've had fire on the top and water on the bottom and metal and wood. That's the prenatal orientation of the elements, like how existence comes into being. This is the postnatal setup of the elements. So it's like things exist already, so this is kind of how they function in existence, if that makes sense. Prenatal and postnatal. So what we have is we have this circle, which is known as the generative cycle of the elements, how things help each other come into being. So for instance, if we start with water, like we have the water element, water, of course, helps wood to grow. Like you need water to help the plants to grow. Wood becomes fire, obviously. You can't have a fire if you don't have fuel. As fire burns down and becomes ashes, that then becomes the earth. It's something has happened, and then you have that leftover, the ashes. As the earth gets consolidated and compressed down, like when you dig deep into the earth, you find metals, you find ore, and silver and gold and diamonds. Like compressed earth becomes metal. And then metal oxidizes moisture out of the air. It draws moisture, kind of, anything that's there. It consolidates it, or it draws it out, and then we start to have water again. And then we just go around and around in this cycle. So that's one of the ways that the elements support each other. And then we also have what's called the controlling cycle. So rather than going in a circle, it goes more in a star direction. So we have water, which helps to put out fire. And we have fire, which can melt metal. And then metal, like an axe, it can cut wood. And then wood controls earth the way that when you think about the side of a mountain, for instance, if it's been clear cut, and all the wood has been taken up and there's no roots in the soil, erosion starts to happen. So trees, wood helps to keep earth in place. It helps to balance it. And then earth controls water the way that, for instance, when there's a flood that's coming, you get sandbags. You get bags of earth to help build up the banks of a canal, for instance. Or even you create an earthen vessel that you can then put water into so that you can basically control the water. So these are the ways that the elements balance and harmonize each other. And sometimes what might happen is there might be, say not enough water, so then the wood doesn't grow. Or you might say that there's so much fire that we're not just softening the metal, we're like melting it into nothing. And then there's no metal. So it just becomes like a liquid almost, or maybe then it just kind of evaporates. It's like alchemy. Is this making sense? Okay, so coming into this year, the year of the fire horse. So fire, 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 fire. So what that means is that if we're looking at the control cycle, there's a possibility that the metal is going to be disrupted. And so when we're thinking about some of the qualities that go along with metal, metal has to do, one, metal is associated with the lungs in the body. And metal is very much associated with rhythms, like a rhythmic breathing pattern or a rhythmic heartbeat. It's also associated with the large intestine, so like a rhythmic elimination of the bowels or evacuation of the bowels, right? It's like things that you want. Waking up and going to sleep at a regular time is considered to be a metal function. And so routine and rhythm is associated with metal. When we think about metals in nature, like gold and silver and diamonds and things like this, these are things that have an inherent value, right? It's like we use gold coins as a form of exchange, of saying like, hey, you did something that I value, I'll give you this. And this is how we're exchanging things. And so value, and that's where, again, fire and metal, they balance each other, because when we think about things that are value or valuable, and certain values that we have that then might become morals and ethics and laws and ways of doing things, like we have our routine because this is the way that we do it, because that's the right way of doing it, that can become very rigid. It can become metal can be very cold and very sharp, like a sword, and it's like the sword of discipline, and it's like any little bit off of the center line gets cut. So we bring in fire associated with the heart, associated with joy, with love, with compassion, and we help to temper that metal a little bit so it's not so rigid, not so cold, right? But if it's too much fire, then we don't have anything, like nothing is anything. There is no structure, there is no rhythm, there's no routine, there's no morals, there's no values, there's no ethics. Nothing matters. It's all just whatever, And so you can see, we want balance there. And so again, if we're thinking about this fire year where things might be difficult, look at the news, right? Maybe there's going to be war everywhere. Maybe there's going to be troops marching in the street. Who knows what's going to happen? It might be crazy. So what do? We can cultivate a kind of steadiness and a rhythmic way of being within ourselves. We can really get aligned with what is of most value, what matters to us, like the great, contemplation that it's a worthy contemplation, that the only certainty is death, but the time of death is uncertain. So then what do? That's a great metal contemplation. We know we're going to die, but we don't know when, we don't know how, we don't know what's going to happen. So if it can happen at any moment, then what do? And that, I think, is less of an intellectual answer of I do this. But you just sit with that feeling in your body. What comes up when you think about that very true statement? It's what happens? That helps to then get clear on what do I do? Where am I putting my focus and my intention? Or how am I being in the moment-to-moment actions of my life, regardless of what's going on? Really, what matters? What is of value? Can I feel the reality of the fact that I will die in an unknown time and place and reason? Can I take a breath when I'm thinking about that? Or do I lose my breath? Is it hard to take a breath? And so we need to cultivate a capacity to be in reality, and be able to breathe, and be able to remain calm, and cultivate that, so that as things maybe transform and things come into action, and there's so much going on, and you've got this giant horse just galloping away, and we're maybe hanging on to the neck going oh my gosh, how do I get this horse to slow down? Can you breathe? Can you feel yourself seated on the back of this horse as it's galloping along and remain centered. This, I feel like, is a big piece of the work that for all of us for this coming year. Because we all have our ways that we think it should be and how we want it to be, and that might get thrown out the window. And so then what? And so again, it's like, I think it's less of a specific, like, well, if then what, then this. It's like, no, but how does it feel if then what? What happens to you? And if what happens to you is, oh my God, I can't even deal with anything, like, that's not helpful. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help anyone else. So when you feel that, especially in these times where we're sitting in this nice room, we have heat, we flick a switch and light comes on, and we turn a spigot and water comes out, that's still happening. So now is the time to think about these things, feel our reactions, and cultivate an ability to then take a breath and to come back to our center and to get clear on what is important. How am I being? Do I hate this person I see on the news because they make me feel uncomfortable? How does that help? If death might come at any moment, do you want to spend it hating someone that you've never even met? Like really, what are we doing? And maybe we haven't thought about this enough, and maybe that's why we are the way we are right now and where we are the way we are right now. And so, fire is about love and about connection and about joy and about authenticity, because fire is just in the moment. Like, that's what fire is, and so can we be that way, but not be so lost in it? Like, can we have stability, groundedness? We have all this yang energy. Can we balance it with some yin energy? So again, I think, it's, some people might consider it to be morbid, acknowledging that death is certain. And when the way and the time that death will come is uncertain. Like, that's not a morbid thought, I don't think. That's a very real thought. And it really puts us in touch with life and really makes us consider, like, what am I doing? What is going on? And how can I then, if I'm not doing what I want to be doing or how I want to be doing, like, how can I then get right with that? Because that's the medicine that we all need as individuals and also for the collective. The science shows that one person who is grounded and centered in a room full of people who are ungrounded and uncentered can help to bring everyone to groundedness, to coherence. Or like Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say, if there's a boat full of people in a storm, one calm person can help keep that boat from capsizing, as opposed to everybody freaking out, and then the boat is churning, and the waves are churning, and then the next thing you know, the boat capsizes. And so again, I feel like, being cultivators, like we all are, it's like, so part of what goes along with that is the responsibility that, like, I need to cultivate. And by cultivating ourselves, we are cultivating the rest of the universe. So, don't waste any more time. Yeah. Okay. Anything about that? Any other comments, questions?
You talked about fire and metal, and again, with these relationships in clockwise fashion, is that relevant, or can they go both directions?
Yeah, so
water balance fire.
Right, yes. And so the question is about the directionality of the movement of the elements. And so, yes, water can balance fire. Absolutely. And again, when we think about water, water is also, like we talked about it over the winter. Water is that kind of going inward and being reflective and finding stillness and finding calm and being nourished by that, like by the unknowing. So water can help the fire from getting too out of sorts. And then when we think about the generative cycle, if we're cultivating metal and we have a healthy metal, that leads to a healthy water. which can then help to keep the fire from burning too brightly. And even, healthy water leads to healthy wood, so that then the fire that is burning isn't out of control. If we don't have like the calmness and stability, if we don't have a healthy water, maybe we have really dry wood that is very ignitable. We talk about the wood element and the liver organ, and I think most people know the liver is associated with anger. And so again, it's this kind of calm reflectiveness and being able to drop into not knowing that can sometimes help to temper anger. So that then we're not so mad and saying and belligerent and being like, I'm mad because this is how it should be, and that's not how it should be, and then I'm getting all red in my face and my blood pressure is rising, and all of a sudden I have a stroke. These things happen, and they do play out physiologically. And so this is a vocabulary that can help us, to understand what's going on. We don't have to understand the biochemistry of atherosclerosis to be able to know what might give rise to stroking out or a heart attack. We can think about it in terms of nature that we can see all around us. And the examples that are there, pretty obviously, pretty straightforward. Yeah, and then talking about when things go against the cycle of things, that's also just a sign of an extreme imbalance, And the other side of that coin is that when things are going against the natural flow of things, that also means that they tend to not be as sustainable. And if they need to be overcome, it might not be too hard to overcome them because they're not moving the way that they should be. So it's like, walking against the flow of a river is hard, and then when you just let go, you just get carried by the current. So that's also something that speaks to that, but that's kind of a different context of what we're talking about within this conversation.
Would wearing metal help balance during this year?
Right.
Wearing silver,
wearing that's kind of like the feng shui cures that they talk about.
Right.
Like that could be something, like whether it's wearing metal or even earthy type of things, because fire wants to become earth. It becomes an imbalance when fire just keeps going this way and just gets more and hotter and more crazy. What we want to do is we want to pull fire down into the earth. And so and some of the colors associated with metal, those are typically like, the white and things like this. Like when we think about the aspects of culture that are usually associated with like values and ethics and morals and like religious traditions, you see priests who wear white, and they have like all these metal kind of instruments that they're performing liturgies with. And then the same thing with earth, earthy tones, yellows and browns and things that help to tone things down so that it's not so whoo, and I don't know if burnt orange, saffron, something like that. But so those are feng shui cures, and that can definitely be helpful. But I feel like, my personal opinion is that it's not that there's some kind of magic inherent thing in wearing the metal or wearing a certain color, but what that does is it keeps you aware of a certain way of being, a certain state of mind, and so it's more in the forefront. It's like a constant reminder of like, oh yeah, like, right, let me put on this metal necklace in the morning, and as I do it, it's a reminder to take a breath, or like I feel the necklace. Let me take a breath. Let me calm down. Let me just kind of be here in this moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
That's our assignment for this year.
Yes, the assignment for this year is to remember to breathe. And it's actually not too different than the assignment from last year, where we had the wood snake. But, just because last year, I think with all that was going on, it was kind of like, what's going to happen? And so, not to jump too far ahead or jump into conclusions, and to remember where we are. But again, rather than, whereas last year it was more of like this kind of watery, like, let's be in the not knowing, woo way, just kind of be calm, be still. Now it's like, yeah, be calm and be still so that you can reflect and so that you can get clear on what really matters, what's important, like even if stuff is falling apart. So then what does that mean? Are you going to go out and just anybody who looks like they don't agree with you, are you going to want to fight them and be mad at them? Or is it about how can we find common ground? Like what really matters? I feel like everybody wants to live a good life and feel safe and feel secure. And, community is a big part of that. So how can we cultivate that if that's a value to you? Or maybe community doesn't matter and you want to go off the grid and just be a hermit out in the woods and do that. Commune with nature and the animals and the trees. Like, get clear on that and then do it. That's what one of my teachers likes to say. Like, really get clear on what's the one thing that if you did it would really make a very positive difference in your life and everyone else's life. Like, get clear on what that is and then do it. And if you feel resistance to doing it, of like, I'd love to do that, but I can't because of ... Like, then look at that and really consider, like, well, what's going on there? So is it workable? Can you find a way of working that? And if not, then do you need to let go of that one thing that you think would make everything better? Letting go is also a very metal type of thing. The exhalation of the lungs, the release of the bowels. Okay. All right, great. Thank you for indulging lots of talking. That's why we did a slightly shorter self-massage. Now we can do lots of Qigong. Because really, that's what this is about. And that's what all of this is about. Balance. Okay. All right. Great. So, what I wanted to start the year with is just, just easy Qigong and things, things that we can draw upon, not so much a specific kind of form, but just some practices, and we've learned many different forms and lots of different practices, and it is okay to take bits and pieces from different forms and different practices and just put them together and kind of make something. So, let's do something like that. And we'll begin standing, unless standing doesn't work for you, and then you can sit or lay down, but if you can stand, let's do that. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes if that's available to you, or if it's more comfortable to keep your eyes slightly open and maybe focused down in front of you at a 45-degree angle or so, 6 to 8 feet, or even looking out straight ahead. Again, like, find what works for you. And we'll just take a few moments to bring our awareness to the three treasures. And again, this is all of Qigong, is the three treasures. And so, learning this, cultivating the capacity to bring our awareness to our body and the alignment of our body within gravity. And to take a breath and feel how the breath moves through our bodies, noticing where it does, where it doesn't. And allowing this alignment of our body within gravity, the movement of our breath into and through our bodies, allowing that to be the focus of our mind, to be able to notice when we are tracking that, when we are present to the body and the breath, and noticing when we've lost it, which will happen. That's normal and natural. Sometimes it might be a little while before you notice, oh, right, where is my body in space? And how is my breath moving? But whenever you notice it, just return. And there are so many little things you can do in your body to help bring your awareness more into your body. Like as you stand, you can lift your feet off the ground. You can gently rock a little forward into the balls of your feet, maybe even feeling your toes grip the ground and push back into the heels. You can soften your knees so that you can feel the foot spread, and just notice how much contact the foot is making with the ground, or notice where is the weight, more in one foot than the other, on the inside or the outside or the front or the back of the feet, noticing the knees locked or unlocked. As you unlock them, what happens to the muscles of your legs? Notice this. As you're noticing it, breathe. See how the breath and the noticing changes the sensation. If it does, if it doesn't. Tune into your pelvic girdle and your hips and your lower back. And not only the bones, but also the organs. Like what's going on in this bowl of the pelvis? Are your intestines full? What's your bladder feel like? How is the alignment? Do you feel tilted forward or backwards, or again, shifted one way or the other? Do you want to move the hips and rotate them? And what does that do to your legs and your knees and your feet? There's so much to notice right here. Tuning into the spine and the lower back. And feeling that as it wraps around, corseting into the front of the body. Breathing into the rib cage, the sides, and the back, the lower aspect of the rib cage. Can you breathe your torso, a nice cylinder kind of shape? Can you feel all 360 degrees of the cylinder as you expand out with the breath? And as you breathe, not only expanding outwards in all directions, but can you feel the breath moving up and down through the body? Can you feel your shoulder blades, these big, heavy bones hanging on the backside of our rib cage? What do those feel like? What do all the muscles that stabilize the shoulder blade and the shoulder joint, what do they feel like from one side to the other? Like I know the right side of my shoulder and shoulder blade feels so different than the left side. And you don't have to do anything about the difference, but can you notice? Do they feel the same? Do they feel different? Just what does it feel like? And then can you tune into the back of your skull? You know, I think almost all of us, at some point, if we just relax and release, we do this. This is slightly exaggerated, but that's what happens. And so, what is it like to move back and have the chin slightly tuck and the back of the neck get long, and to feel that holding us upright, lifting us up, creating a little bit of stretch, engaging these muscles in the neck, lengthening them and strengthening the neck muscles. What's that like? And can you notice when you slip out of it? And can you come back into it? And can you feel what that does down your spine, down through your legs, into your feet? Can you feel what that does to the collarbones as they spread wide, and you can feel gravity then pulling on your arms, down through the hands? this is a practice that we can do all the time. Whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, laying down, moving, still. This is cultivation. We're always cultivating, whether we know it or not. So why not get better at knowing it, doing it on purpose? And as we tune in, we might feel there might be areas that feel a little stiff or stuck or tight or less available. And so this is where we can use a little bit of breath and a little bit of movement to loosen things up. So nice and easy. Sometimes we do this in a big way. Let's start small and do it longer than we normally do with this amplification and discharge. So just as you take an inhale, just inhale. Maybe make gentle fists with your hands. Maybe the shoulders come up. Maybe fists with your feet. And then you can exhale and relax. And just do this for a while. Just in and out. Inhaling the shoulders up and back, and then let them go. Inhaling, maybe you come off of your heels and relax. But now, let's just keep with this. And feel free to just take it in your own direction. And maybe your pace is a little faster or a little slower. Maybe the exhale is a forceful exhale. Maybe it's gentle. Yeah, and let it build. If it builds into shaking and bouncing, let it do that. Clear things out. Open things up. Let them move. Five more breaths. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just a little bounce. A little shaking, maybe turning side to side, maybe just bouncing a little bit more. Maybe some blithers. As you're ready, you can settle down a little bit. Let's rub our hands together. Let's rub our faces. Back and forth over the head a couple times. Down the back of the neck and around, and then from the bottom of the throat, take both hands and just gently stroke down the front of the body, down to the lower dantian, and then come back up. And again, exhale, inhale, exhale. 2 more. Maybe massaging the ribs and the belly. And around the waist to the lower back. Bring the hands out. And again, just attune. Feel your body. Feel the alignment of your body. All those alignment cues we went through. Feet, knees, ribs, back of the head. Breathe. And then let's do a couple gathering breaths. So inhale and gather the breath up. Exhale. Again, in. Gather the breath in and sigh of relief. One more time. This time, let's gather the hands up. When they come up, turn the palms up and look up. And then exhale your hands around. Inhale the hands, palms facing the body. When they get up, palms up and look up and stretch. And then exhale around. Chin towards the chest. Make fist with your hands and press your fists together and squeeze. And then inhale yourself up. Hands coming up. Palms up. Exhale. Fists with the hands. Squeeze the hands together. Chin towards the chest. Bring yourself out. And then inhale again. Couple more. In, stretch, exhale, bring yourself out, squeeze it out in a gentle way, all the way out, and then again, in, and pausing at the top of the inhalation, and then exhale, pausing at the bottom of the exhalation. Two more. Pause. Relax. Pause. Last one. Inhale yourself up. The hands can float up. And then exhale. Just take a moment and feel that. Again, attune back into your alignment. Let your knees be soft. 3 points of contact on the bottom of the feet. Soft knees. Lift through the back of your skull. Breathe into the backside of the rib cage and just feel how you feel. And then let's do some gentle tracing of our meridians so the hands can come up. And we're going to gather, just breathe naturally. So the hands come around, circling over the head, and then out in front, and coming under the collarbones, under the arms, back out in front, a little different, over the belly, off the sides of the hips, and then down, up the front of the legs, over the belly, crossing at the chest, and then bring each hand out the opposite arm, and then palms face you. Turn the palms to face up, and again, big circle. Over your head, behind your head, and then out in front. Under the collarbones, under the arms, and back behind you, and then around to the belly, and then chop the hips back, and the hands float down the back of the body. up the front, over the belly to the chest, cross the hands, and then each hand out, each arm, palms face you. Turn the palms up and open. Circle over your head. And then out in front, reaching the hips back. Hips come forward, hands come under the collarbones. And then under the arms, and the hands sweep back. And then out in front to the belly. Chop the hips back and down the back of the legs. Up the front, over the belly and the chest, crossing the hands out each arm. Turn the palms to face you. Palms face up. And again, open. Back over the head. Under the collarbones. To the belly. Chop the hips back. Down the back. Up the front. Over the belly and the chest, and then out the arms. Palms face you. Turn the palms up one more time. Open. Over your head. Reach back behind you if you can, and then out in front. Hands under the collarbones, under the arms, back behind you, out in front, to the belly, over the belly, chop the hips back and down, up the front, over the belly and the chest and out the arms. Palms face you, palms face up, and then open out to the sides. Good. Let's inhale the arms out to the sides, and then exhale, palms back to back. Inhale and roll up. Exhale, open. Again, palms back to back. Inhale. Exhale, open. One more time. In and out. The hands come around, and let's let the hands float in front of the belly and relax. And so, middle fingers and ring fingers pointed towards your belly button. The arms aren't too far out in front. They're not too close. So find an area where they feel comfortable, like the arms are pretty much in line with the body, not in front of the body, but right in line, so that they can just hang freely from your shoulders, in line with the body. Reach back through the back of the skull. Again, lifting, long back of the neck, slightly tucked chin. Breathe in between the shoulder blades, behind the heart. Relax your knees. Let the knees move away from each other. Maybe lift your toes to find your hard parts of the bottom of the feet. And when you find that, you can spread the floor apart, finding the outer edge of the foot. Toes can relax. Breathe. So just a simple standing posture that is challenging. So can we stay with what is challenging? What's a little uncomfortable? Can we allow that discomfort or this challenge to help provide us the information to make this more sustainable? Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to lift a little more through the back of my head? Do I need to soften my knees? Do I need to really strengthen my feet a little bit more? Do I need to relax my shoulders because I'm holding when I don't need to? Do I just need to take a breath when you're ready, we're going to inhale up to the heart. And exhale, press the palms out in front. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, send your hips back and the hands sweep down. The knees can bend if you'd like, and then knees moving apart, weight in the heels. Inhale up to stand. And exhale. Inhale, hands to the belly. Relax. Breathe. Find a comfortable, sustainable way of doing this. Maybe holding elevator doors gently apart with your elbows, lifting through the back of the skull, weight more in the outside edges of the feet and the heels. Inhale the hands up to the heart. Exhale, press away. Inhale, open wide. Hips back, exhale, the hands sweep down, the knees can bend. Hands out in front, inhale, lifting up. Exhale. Inhale, press down. Exhale. Hands to the heart, take a breath. Exhale, press away. Inhale, open. Exhale, hips back, hands sweep down, knees bend as the hands come out front, and inhale, press through the heels to come up. Exhale, down the front of the body. Inhale, press down through the hands, reach up through the back of the head. Exhale, hands to the heart, take a breath. Again, exhale. Stretch, inhale. Exhale, hips back. Knees bend. Arms out in front. Inhale, up. Exhale, down the front. Inhale, press down. This time, exhale, just the hands float up. And again, inhale. Exhale, the arms out and up in front. Inhale. Exhale. So it's like an amplification and discharge. Again, in. Out. Moving with your breath. You can make it as vigorous or as gentle as you'd like. Inhale. Reach down through your hands. Pull your shoulders away from your head. Reach your head away from your shoulders and relax. Two more. Last one. Let the hands float down. Breathe naturally. Hands at the waist, palms facing the ground. And then, with your hands, like we did with the tracing the meridians, chop your hips back and sweep the arms around in front. Move your hips away from your hands. And then pull the hips and hands towards each other. With the breath, we're going to inhale, long and slow. Inhale, hips and hands reaching away from each other. Exhale, hips and hands moving towards each other. In. we can make this movement smaller. So inhale the hips back, not too far. Don't hinge too far forward. Inhale. Reach through the back of your head. Exhale. Make it really small. Inhaling. Hands come around in front. When they get out in front, hold here. So be up high enough that you can hang out here. Let your knees be bent. Spread the floor apart. Find the outer edges of your feet. Lift through the back of your head. If you let yourself sink forward, lift through the back of the head. Feel that length between your head and your shoulders. Take a big breath here. Breathe behind your heart. And then exhale, hands and hips towards each other. And again, doesn't have to be big. Inhale. Reaching through the back of the head, nice and long. Spread the floor apart. Exhale. Inhale. Weight in the heels. You can lift your toes if you'd like. Exhale. If you want a little more, you can go a little further, but you don't have to. Inhaling. And exhale. So what we want to avoid is this with the head. We don't want compression of the neck. What we want is inhaling, lifting the back of the head away from the hips. Not forward, but back. A couple more. We're working. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale the arms out to the side. Exhale the hands down. Palms back to back. We'll inhale up. Exhale open. Palms facing up. Inhale up. Turn the palms down and exhale. Knees can bend. Palms back to back. In. Out. In. And out. Bend as much as is comfortable. No need to do too much. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Just moving with the breath, taking your time. Let's do 3 more. That's just 1. 2. Palms back to back. Inhale up. Exhale, open. Take a breath. And then exhale, press your hands closer together. Find something about the size of a soccer ball in the area of your face or throat, and breathe. Spread the floor apart in between your feet. Find your outer edges of the feet. Knees move away from each other. Lift through the backside of your skull. Breathe behind your heart, in between your shoulder blades. Stay with sensation, even if it's challenging or uncomfortable. Can you stay here? Can you breathe here? One more deep breath in. And then exhale, bringing the hands to face the belly again. Arms again can be right along the side of the body. And here we can rest. We can check in with our alignment. Lengthening through the back of the neck. Breathing, the shoulders soft and easy. Elbows spreading wide and even slightly towards the ground so that you can feel your lat muscles engage a little bit, like the elbows are being pulled down and slightly wide, and you're countering that with a lift through the backside of the head, spreading the floor apart. Strong back, soft front. And then on your next inhale, just let the arms float out. Exhale. And then we're going to inhale and just drag up through the lower back to the sides of the body, and then exhale. And again, sweeping back, inhale. And out. Take your time, inhaling, dredging the liver. Again. Two more. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the third eye. Inhale, open the third eye. Exhale. Palms back to back. Inhale. Open the third eye and exhale. So let's slow this down. Long, slow inhalation coming up to the third eye. And open. And then out. So long, slow. The inhalation still happens to about here. Maybe we don't start the inhale till about here. Still exhaling and then inhale. So yeah, start the inhale at your heart. Up to the third eye, continue inhaling, open, and then out. Take your time, let the movement be a meditation. Harmonize the movement with your breath. Maybe you need to go a little faster or slower with the movement, inhaling from the heart to the third eye, inhaling open, and then exhaling. Two more. In, out. Let your hands rest by your sides. Breathe. And again, return to the three treasures. Feel your alignment within gravity. Feel your body. Feet on the ground, back of the head lifting up, chin slightly tucked, breathing into the backside of the rib cage and the sides of the rib cage. Breathe with your whole body. Breathe through your whole body. Exchanging chi with the universe. Breathing the universe into your body. Exhaling yourself back out into the universe. just attending to the body and the breath, allowing that to be the focus of your mind. Calm your body, calm your breath. Nourish your body with your breath. Nourish your mind with your breath and the awareness of your body. Let's take an inhale together here. As we exhale, soften the knees, shift your weight towards the mirrors, and then inhale, gather the arms up, stepping the feet closer together. Exhale. Hands down the front of the body, and then resting by the sides of the body, breathing easy. In some traditions, at the end of a practice, they like to dedicate the merit of the practice to the rest of the universe. And I'd like to offer that the practice itself is the dedication. Because really, there is no separation between anything. Everything is everything else. And so, just to carry that intention forward, the practice is everything that you do in every moment. And the practice is for the benefit of everything. Because everything is you. So when you're washing the dishes, taking care of the dishes as you would take care of yourself. Because the dishes are you. And when you take care of yourself, when you take care of everything, everything benefits. If death is certain, but the time and place of death is uncertain, what should you do? Can you take care of everything and take care of each moment as if it was the only moment, the last moment? What kind of world would we be in if we all did that? Even just a little bit. Whenever you're ready, you can relax out of your stance. Bring your hands together and rub the palms together. Gently massaging the face a couple times. back and forth over the head a couple times. Down the back of the neck and around. Hands together, thumbs pressing into the sternum as we move the hands over the chest to the lower ribs and onto the belly. Around the waist to the lower back. Drawing the hands out. Gently, intentfully patting up one arm. And then down. Up the other side. And down. And then around and down the back side of the legs. Up the front. Around and down. And up. Rubbing the belly, and let your hands settle over the belly, over the lower dantian. Allow your breath to move underneath your hands. Allow your awareness to be under your hands. And let's inhale the hands around the waist and down. All right. Great. Thank you for your practice, and thanks for helping to, create the world that we all have to share. So let's keep doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a great week. And remember the 3 treasures as often as you can. It all starts from there. Thank you. All right. And thank you all for being here online. We'll see you next time.